The U.S. is home to the majority of the world's data centers. There are over 2,800 in the United States, and the next closest is the United Kingdom with less than 400. Now, data centers are becoming a real estate play for investors.
Simple economics. The demand exploded in the last couple of years.
Data centers are the physical backbone of digital infrastructure, housing servers and the equipment to run everything from AI and basic internet functions. But not everyone wants to live near these hubs of electricity.
75 people signed on to speak, and most do not want data centers built near homes or schools. A campus of more than a dozen buildings would be built near neighborhoods and 3 elementary schools.
The need for land to build the data centers on has become a sore spot in states where hundreds of data centers already exist, like Virginia.
There has been a backlash against data centers, and that's why I'm sitting in the seat that I am. People were frustrated. Residents felt like their voices were not being heard. They felt like some of the more contentious data center projects should have never been approved, and they want someone to listen to them.
How data centers became billion-dollar real estate investments. The world's top tech companies are pouring billions into building new data centers in the U.S. Amazon Web Services is investing an additional $35 billion to establish multiple data center campuses in new locations across Virginia by 2040. And top AI competitor Microsoft is reportedly planning to build a $100 billion data center facility.
What's driving that is AI. The big technology companies are telling us that they're going to spend $1 trillion on their digital infrastructure over the next 5 years. A lot of that's going to go into data centers.
Vacancies decreased in the first quarter of 2024 compared to a year prior. Some experts say new infrastructure is still not enough to keep up with the exponential demand for computing power.
I can safely say that in the next 3 to 4 years, we're not going to solve this demand problem. I think the demand for land is directly tied to the demand for power, and the value of the land goes up significantly if it's in close proximity to utility power that has immediately available capacity.
For example,
welcome to Technocracy News.
Greetings. What we just looked at there was all about AI, building out huge data centers. We need to talk about this. In fact, we can't talk enough about it at this point because honestly, people don't understand the scale that's going on when all of these people who are protesting in their local communities, they had no idea when the data center first got approved. Oh, it's just a little building, no problem. We'll welcome them as neighbors. Then all of a sudden they see the scale that the buildings just keep growing and growing and growing, and these cranes come in and they're erecting these huge cooling towers, etc. And then all of a sudden, holy mackerel, what did we vote for here? And it's shocking people at this point. They have no clue when they saw it at the first, but they get wrapped up with real reality shortly, right?
Yeah. And a lot of people also think that it's going to be great for the local economy and bring jobs and help improve, bring up housing markets and all that stuff. But then the reality is they really don't provide many jobs after they're built. I mean, some construction jobs with building them and putting it all together. But once they're up and running, it doesn't keep that many jobs in these warehouses.
Exactly. Let's look at this first story here. Sam Altman. He predicts that he's going to have, well, not predicts, he's spending the money on it. He sees 1 million GPUs online for his company, OpenAI, by the end of 2025. 1 million GPUs. Well, what does this mean? How can you measure what he's doing here? Well, I did some math to help you along. If Altman were to purchase the latest Blackwell Ultra GPU models from NVIDIA at $30,000 per pop, he's talking about $30 billion just for the chips. The build-out cost for the data center is probably around 3x to 4x the cost of the chips themselves. That would make Altman's total spend in the range of $100 billion to $150 billion just this year. Well, I just did a little searching beyond that. The industry itself, all combined, is expected to reach $500 billion to $600 billion in 2025 alone, and is likely to reach $5 trillion by 2030. It's just get a big picture here, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible, absolutely stunning. Does this feel like a bubble to you?
Well, they're not acting like it is. I mean, I kind of wonder, but they're not. It doesn't seem like they think so.
I know they're spending money nilly-willy. If whenever they can get a place to slap down a data center, they do it.
Yeah, and Elon has 200,000 GPUs right now in Memphis, and they have stated their plans to have 1 million in Memphis alone.
I know that this is staggering. I computed I added up the combined computing power of all this AI stuff, and this is a crazy statistic. But once upon a time, I looked at all the measurements, terabytes, gigabytes, etc., and then it goes up from there to petabytes, and then yottabytes or zettabytes, and then so on. And I have a program that actually added this up for me. But the combined computing power by the end of 2025, that's this year, just 6 months from now, it's estimated to be 200 zettabytes per second. That's 1 to the 10th, 1 to 10 to the 21st power. In other words, that's 21 zeros. And who can conceive what these people are doing to us? It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a number I can't even read. I mean, I just looked it up to see how many gigabytes it was, and because gigabytes is what most people know, and I don't even know what number that is. I mean, there's too many zeros at the end of it.
Exactly. So, this is going to increase every year from here on, unless somehow.
Okay, so 1 zettabyte is equal to 1 trillion gigabytes.
Yep. That's more than the people in the world. Of course, there's only eight billion people in the world. That means there's combined, maybe for each person, terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data per person.
Yeah. Wow.
You think this is a control grid that they're creating?
Yeah, that's a lot of data, and that's per second moving.
That's right. Well, that's the processing power.
Yeah.
That to handle everything that's going on at the time. So, I heard another estimate of the static data that's in the world right now. All the videos that are being created, and the text files and pictures and everything else that's stored on the internet. There's probably more than 10 zettabytes at this point of static data. That's just residing on a hard drive somewhere, or not a hard drive. No, it's all electronic at this point. But when you consider there's maybe only 10 or 15 zettabytes of stored data, and then you compare that to 200 zettabytes of processing power, that means that 200 divided by whatever, it could potentially process all all the data in the world on a continuous basis if it wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's not going to do that, of course, because that's just inconceivable. But when you consider all the flows of data coming off the government processes, the Internet of Things, digital twins, city, smart city management, all this stuff, this is where the new data is being created, and that's going to be processed by AI.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it just makes you think there's no way that these data centers being put up for chatbots and AI creation for us. They're being put up for monitoring and profiling and creating tabs on everyone. I mean, there's no other, I mean, there's too much data centers, too many being put up just to be for chatbots and AI that we use.
Yes, and let's just consider also that you have this new monetary system based on cryptocurrency that's being erected right now. And if this replaces our monetary system, every single token is going, in America and probably the world at some point, every single token is going to be run through AI to analyze it. Just consider.
Yeah.
All the money, every transaction in America. You go to the drugstore, get some Band-Aids, where that's a transaction, right? Just consider all the sum total of 325 million people transacting stuff all over the place. And that's just one source of data that can be processed by AI.
Yep.
Absolutely stunning.
Well, we're at a break. We'll be back here in just a minute and pick up the conversation.
July 6, 2005. This is Tom Harper. Man figures plankton stopped his rare cancer. We got more of a response from this from our viewers than anything else you and I have ever discussed.
Tom Harper, 20 years ago, he had mesothelioma, deadly lung cancer, was given weeks to live, and he just intuitively started to eat the phytoplankton out of his fish tanks because he fed the phytoplankton to his shellfish. He was a shellfish farmer. And when he went in for the surgery, the surgeon came out of the operating room and told his family, I have not ever seen anything like it. The cancer is benign, and Tom Harper lived for years. He retired in Hawaii. We're not making any claim.
Here he is in his own words.
Started on a daily routine of just taking a bit of paste, putting it in my mouth, and wash it down with a drink of water. Within about 10 to 15 days, here I am, less pain in my back. I knew that something was going on, so I just kept eating half a teaspoon of this paste a day. I was booked to go for surgery in Victoria where they were going to do what they call a talc treatment. They went in there to have a look, saw something they never seen before, took 11 sites, sent them away for biopsy. I got the news back. Everything was benign. They just did not know what to make of it. Everything was absolutely clean. And I've tried dieting all my life because I'm a diabetic. If it's a coincidence or not, I don't know. My blood sugar started dropping. My weight started falling off. Here I am, no longer requiring insulin, and I was taking 88 units a day of insulin. I can eat just about what I want in moderation, and I have no elevated sugar levels, and I feel fabulous.
People, you hear the word cancer, and they want you to be instilled with fear. Cancer is nothing but a profound failure of the immune system. And what happened with Tom Harper is the phytoplankton is microscopic. It's God's microscopic food. And the Gadatiana is the most nutritionally comprehensive strain phytoplankton in the world. David Hunter studied phytoplankton for 20 years because he worked for Tom Harper, and he was there in person and witnessed Tom's recovery. It's about getting pure nutrition inside your cells. And what happens, your body balances again or goes back to homeostasis. And when your body is pH balanced or in homeostasis, disease can't grow. It is literally microscopic, pure single cell plant food with protein and omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids, with amino acids and vitamins and minerals. 1 scoop a day. There's 90 billion plant cells in here just for everyday nutrition and energy and, cognitive support, because this is God's pure nutrition.
Go to melissahousegpa.com today. Discover the science and learn more about the wonderful benefits of Gaditana phytoplankton. That's melissahousegpa.com. melissahousegpa.com.
This is the largest AI cluster in the world. The team at X is building a massive AI supercomputer that encompasses over 100,000 GPUs, exabytes of storage, super fast networking. This place is absolutely amazing. And this entire supercomputer is built to power Grok. Now, xAI is building something with Grok that is far more than just a simple chatbot like we've seen before. And that is exactly why there is a giant cluster here. Today, we're going to go back inside these data halls and show you a whole bunch of stuff on what makes this work, what makes this special, and just all the really cool engineering that went into this. Now, this is actually my second time at the facility, and let me just tell you, the speed at which this thing was built is absolutely amazing. This entire facility with over 100,000 GPUs was built in only 122 days. And just to give you some frame of reference, the largest exascale supercomputers only have a fraction, maybe half to a quarter as many GPUs as xAI has here, and yet those deployments generally take many years from start to finish. The engineering accomplishment here is absolutely amazing, and there's work still being done. But I thought, let's go take a look at inside one of these data halls, and let's also show some of the facilities and just kind of show you what's going on and how something like this gets built. We need to say that this video is sponsored by Supermicro, since it is, but I also just want to say thank you to the X and xAI teams for giving us permission to go and film this. Also, of course, thank you to Elon and his teams for approving this and making this possible. With that, let's get inside a data hall to see how this all works.
Inside the data hall, xAI is using a pretty common design. This is a raised floor data hall, and above we have our power. Down below we have all of the pipes for the liquid cooling so that heat can be exchanged to the facility chillers. Each one of these compute halls has about 25,000 GPUs, plus all the storage, the fiber optic high-speed networking. It's all built into the hall, and then they're connected together.
Wow. And that has now been doubled since then. That was when it was at 100,000 GPUs, and now they're at 200,000 GPUs.
Exactly. I encourage people to listen to that whole video and just consider all of those yellow cables at the top. That was those are all fiber optic cables, bundles and bundles and bundles of fiber optic cables. And at the bottom, below the floor of the towers, all of the infrastructure for cooling, you're talking massive pipes to they contain water, cooled water, and they do they have other cooling systems as well. But this whole infrastructure is just so immense that it's just staggering, absolutely staggering.
Yeah, and you see how big the water pipes are. I mean, how much water is rushing through there.
Exactly. We can be thankful that that particular facility is near to the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
I think to suck the water out. But another aspect of this is that they have to use fresh water. I'll probably do a video on this at some point, but I think they have to use fresh water, not just recycled type of water.
Uh-huh.
And that kind of raises the bar for water consumption at this point.
Well, I would think it has to be pretty well filtered, or else it's going to cause gunk and buildup in these machines.
I know.
It has to be pretty good water.
Exactly. Well, that's a crazy thing. Let's go on, I guess. But this is a good story to read, just to understand the scale of what's going on. this is going to hit so many people across the country, especially when you find out the data centers being built right close to your house.
Yeah. Yep.
People don't like it. They don't like it at all.
Well, here's our next story. China's plan to capture Africa with surveillance colonialism. What is this all about?
Well, this is a great story. China has been a technocracy for a long time at this point. It was recognized even by Time magazine going back to 2000. China is being run by engineers and scientists, and it's unmistakable that they're trying to export their system to anybody who can do that. This particular story talks about Africa, how China has kind of captured Africa at this point with this concept of surveillance colonialism. Well, everybody has a concept of what colonialism means in the first place, but with surveillance cameras, AI, et cetera, to capture the population of a country, this is what's happening. Now, China doesn't have anywhere near the capacity that we have for AI at this point. Let's make that really clear. However, we know now that Trump is going to meet China on the battlefield for this colonial concept, because the new America's First Plan for AI, we just talked about that last week, it makes it very clear that was pillar 3 of that plan talks about exporting our AI system, the whole stack, the infrastructure, the data centers, the AI application itself, then all the apps on top of it. He's clearly signaling that he wants to take this to the world, to all of our allies around the world. Mm-hmm. So now China is engaging in a race for us for this surveillance colonialism, if you will. This isn't good. This is not a good thing, I don't think. But nevertheless, Trump has made it clear he wants to beat China to the punch. So here you have evidence on one hand. This is China exporting their surveillance system to Africa, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Trump will meet him on the battlefield, even in Africa, but also in South America, and Panama, and Mexico, Canada, and everywhere, and the EU if he can. And it's going to be wild, wild, wide.
Yeah, and as we stated last week too, this is kind of setting up for a system. If you can get all these countries on the same AI, running on the AI system, then it kind of creates a system for a one world government to be able to be formed, because you have all the surveillance and the administrative software already put in.
Yes. If I was the United Nations and I told all the countries of the world to invent their own AI and, get their act together versus computing, whatever, there's 200, almost 300 countries in the world. You'd end up with 300 different iterations of AI running their country. That would make no sense. You can't make a global government out of that. But if somehow they could all be combined into the same system where all the platforms run on the same system worldwide, then you have the possibility of creating a governance system for the whole world.
Yeah.
This is what's sizing up at this point. There's only China and the United States trying to implement colonialism worldwide.
And this is
I don't see any other players.
This is kind of what Klaus Schwab was talking about when he was talking about whoever creates whoever wins the AI race per se is going to control the world.
That's right. He made that statement for sure. You know, it's interesting. We didn't talk about this. I probably won't put an article on it, but Klaus Schwab has been not only deposed kicked out from the World Economic Forum, but he's been thoroughly disgraced, and his reputation has just been trashed at this point because of all the ugly things he did along the way, including sexual impropriety, money laundering. I mean, the guy's just been totally trashed. So we probably should take anything he ever said with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this is the way these oligarchs act. They have a big bluster on the outside, but when you look at their life, they're a train wreck.
Yep. Yep. Well, we have 2 minutes. We got one last story. Let's hit it real quick. We have real life drama: Tucker County residents versus AI data center behemoth. This is in Loudoun County.
Yep. This is a great case study on what happens when the data center comes to your town. And I pick this story in particular. This is a human interest story. You have a sleepy community at harmony with nature. People went there to escape the city life and have scenic views and fishing and stuff like that. They had no clue that this thing was coming in close to them. But all of a sudden, this huge data center began to build out on no less than the 10,000 acre facility. 10,000 acres. That's huge.
Yeah.
And it's just starting at this point, but there's going to be multiple buildings in that whole facility by the time they're done. And then
who is it the one who's putting the data center up?
In this case, it was a company that you wouldn't hear about normally. I can't pick it out, but
Fundamental Data.
It's a huge company.
Yeah, it's called Fundamental Data. And I'm pretty sure Loudoun County, that's the county where it was getting in the news a lot a couple years ago with the school boards and all the parents sticking up to the school boards, correct?
That's right. Yeah, they're feisty.
Yeah, they're known to fight.
I know. I love it.
So they might come out on top on this one.
Well, that's possible. But what happened along the way is that legislation was passed at the state level and also a little on the county side as well. But at the state level, to prevent them from making a fuss. We've seen this before, where legislation is proposed at the first of a project, and nobody has a clue what that was all about in the first place. But they're being blindsided by this legislation as well. They're very, very upset, and their way of life is basically going to be destroyed.
Yep. Well, we're all out of time, and that's just going to keep happening. I mean, as more and more get put up, there's going to be more and more fights with the cities and the people who don't want this stuff, but we'll see how it ends.
Yes, be always vigilant to watch for this stuff.
Yep. Well, we'll be back on Thursday with a new episode. Till then, take care.
God bless.